moving the ball forward as opposed to getting stuck here
I get that.
as we are.
So phase two would start after the vote on phase one.
Yeah, essentially, start planning exactly
And so
that.
that would be essentially a data collection phase
Yep,
in terms of the next steps.
yep.
All right, I have
Isn't
some
that what
questions.
we've been doing?
Excuse me, Rima, do you want to speak first?
Yes.
Go ahead, Rima, speak.
No.
I think,
I mean-
Well, let me
before I
just
leave
say,
that thought, before I leave that thought on
We need a
phase two,
second.
what's really important to me is handing a plan off to the next school board and the next superintendent, the next generation of leaders that makes sense. And handing this off appropriately is very important to me. I'm closer to the finish line than I am the starting line. And handing this off appropriately is very important to me. And I think we need to do that. And I thought we might be able to push a little further. I don't back off of any statement I made 2 years ago or 3 weeks ago, but I'm trying to push this forward, gang, and I'm
Well, actually,
Can-
right,
can I
even,
can I just clarify for the record? So I make that motion.
So you
What
made
he
the
just
motion.
said.
So
Okay.
we need a second.
I second.
all right,
Okay.
do you want to go ahead, Rima?
No.
You've been waiting to speak.
No, I guess my question is, with great respect to you, Dr. Chapin, here we go. Here's the question. Couldn't you define stuck? What does stuck mean? And I'm not trying to be silly here. I mean to say, is your motivation in bringing this concept forward an attempt to garner a larger majority, which you believe will be meaningful going forward?
yeah.
Okay, is that your only, I mean, if that is your motivation, I just like to know, is that your motivation?
Well, my motivation is to move the district forward.
Well, I understand,
And
I understand.
I think
I understand. Okay,
I
that
want
was
to
my
keep
question.
moving in a forward direction, and I'm concerned that,
I
you
understand.
know,
This
we
is a-
need an alternative idea right now.
Okay, this is a mammoth struggle. I would say to you that my answer to your proposal is within the words you just spoke. That is to say, your last words were, "It is very important to me that we hand to the next leaders a plan that makes sense." That's all I have to say right now.
I'm going to just ask a few, you've presented a vision, and, pardon me. You've presented a vision, Dr. Chapin, and I'm going to ask for a few trees here. One, I'm not sure that we could place technology appropriately in buildings that we intend to then renovate and remodel. So I don't know. One, we've been told we don't have the capacity to really use technology in them as they now stand, and I would be worried about wasting technology dollars. I also have the same question about the mechanical, electrical equipment, doing that at the 4 schools that would not be completely renovated, because we have heard from Clark Construction that all of those schools have significant problems in terms of HVAC systems, ventilation, drainage, water access, mechanical problems. I would not want to spend money that I could not actually remedy the problem. In effect, this looks a little bit like taking part of, on the Chinese menu, part of Part A, and then maybe we'll add in that sort of in-between point of not the least expensive renovation, but not the most expensive either. And I think we would then limit ourselves to what we could do if we ever got to phase 2. We would be spending money that would then inhibit our ability to completely renovate and create additions. I'm also very concerned that we are not including Donley if we were even talking about a first phase. I think that Donley has been historically a part of this district for many years. It was actually, it's bringing Donley into the district was actually, I've been told many times, a part of the social activist work of one of our city council members. I do believe that those students deserve the best we can give them as soon as possible, in that they are a very significant percentage of our truly at-risk students. And so I would not even begin to consider this unless Donley were a part of the initial motion. But I have very serious concerns. I would really like our construction people to say, is it appropriate to do the kind of mechanical, electrical work that we're talking about that is not the actual getting at the significant problems of the infrastructure?
Yeah,
and
Ted, you get up here.
anticipating that we would be able to go back and do it in a cost-effective way.
I guess I have to respond to this in this manner. I didn't take this job to make friends. There are a lot of people that don't like me, and I have a feeling that when this is done, there'll be a lot more. Just the way life works out sometimes. In terms of moving forward and needing a larger consensus, I'm sorry, I don't buy into that. George has said something again and again throughout this process. If the community doesn't like what we put out there on a bond proposal, they're going to tell us. They're just going to say, no, we're not adopting this, okay? Another individual who spoke up tonight said, we're facing wrenching change, massive expenses, talking about massive expenses, don't know what the future is going to bring, and we shouldn't do anything. That isn't a statement of vision. That's a statement of a deer in the headlights, and I don't think we need to be there. We got a one-time opportunity here, and we got to the point where we are through citizens committees, public meetings, a variety of documents that have been everywhere, emails that have flown, 6 hours of community presentation. I've listened to comments and about the unique nature of Red Cedar, and I can appreciate that. But if there was any other school that we had chosen, we would have had seats filled with people talking to us about the unique natures of Marble, Glencairn, Donnelly. I think looking at this, we've gone through a process, we've gotten to a point where a decision needs to be made, and not one that's an abdication of going forward with a vision of what's possible in the future, simply because there's some fear of a 4-3 vote. That's democracy. A 4-3 vote is a 4-3 vote, if that's what happens. If the motion, and I don't know what its number is now, former motion A, which I think is now motion D, passes, and if it goes out for a vote, and if it loses, we're at the same spot that we are if we adopt the motion that's now been posited by Mr. Brookover. I can't support it. I think we should make a decision up or down on motion D, I guess it is, and see what happens. I mean, take a vote on this and see what happens, but I can't support it. We've come too far, people have worked too hard, and while I understand that there are people who feel aggrieved and feel that we're making the wrong call, I think it's a call that we need to make tonight. I think everything that Kay said in her presentation earlier, ditto. I agree with it. I think she made an excellent case for motion D, so I will be voting against this, and I think we should move on to the next motion.
I would really like some observations from Mr. Reiskamp, because I really would be very worried about spending money and not getting full value from it.
I would have to agree with you, Babs, that there's many more needs in those schools. We could do air conditioning, we could do HVAC improvements for the $2.5 million that Dr. Chapin's talking about. But I'd be worried about the other needs in those schools that would not be addressed. And I know White Hills, the HVAC system that's in there, I wonder if $2.5 million would be enough to take care of the problems just with HVAC and put air conditioning in that building alone. White Hills and Pinecrest are done differently than any of the other buildings. So see, when you're redoing Pinecrest, you're taking that one out of the equation, but White Hills would be an issue.
Well, when we went ahead, let's say that we could do some of these, what about when, in the phase 2, when we were, it would be anticipated that we would be upgrading some subset, or maybe all of them, would